All right, what's up and welcome to Cyber Weekend. Best gaming laptop deals, pretty much the whole price range. And I looked on a ton of different websites today, quite a few more than the last couple of live streams. Checked out Lenovo's website, Dell's website, Alienware, Newegg, BH Photo, Best Buy, and Walmart. I've compiled the best deals in all the different price categories, and I've put links down below to each of the different price categories. So from $600 and less, $1,000 and less, $1,300 and less, or like $1,250 and less, something like that, and then $1,500 and less, and then more than $1,500. And yeah, so we're gonna go over all the deals, including the ones that weren't the very best, because I imagine the best deals will probably sell out fairly quickly. And yeah, so what's up? What's up, Gremic? Welcome to the live stream. We are gonna just go ahead and get right into it, and people will have to just rewind and rewatch if they need to. Yeah, Gremic, you're first. Congrats. Okay, all right. So let's go to the tabs here. So I've pulled up, I've got about, you can't really see them, I don't think, can you? Yeah, you can see them. I've got tons of tabs along the top. We're going to go over all those deals, and it's going to be super interesting. So initially, I just want to go over where to find the deals. I've got links at the top of the video description to each of the stores that I'm looking at for the deals. And at the bottom of the description, there's even more links to more websites if you don't find a deal on here that you actually love. So my goal with this video is to help you find a laptop that you're going to love to use. I'm a huge laptop enthusiast. I have reviewed dozens of laptops, benchmarked, I've ran thousands of different benchmarks. I've owned probably 40 different laptops. I love laptops and I love helping people find technology that they're going to love. So that's my goal with this video, is to help you do that. That said, some of the links in the description down below are affiliated. Not all of them are affiliated, but many of them are. And if you do use some of those affiliated links, you will help support me as a content creator. So thank you very much. This video is not sponsored by anyone. And so I'm covering all the different stores and all the different best deals that I can possibly find. So I hope you find this video helpful. Let's dive right into it. Okay, so first up we have Best Buy, and you can see that there's a lot of deals on Best Buy that have now been sold out after the last couple of days of sales, but a lot of the really good deals are still going on. So we're going to go over which ones I think are still worth considering and which ones, some of them are pretty mediocre, some of them are pretty amazing still, so you haven't missed out entirely, at least not on Best Buy sales. Interestingly enough, I think Walmart is one of my favorite sales places for this year. There's a lot of good deals over on Walmart.com. There's a lot of third-party shipping people on Walmart.com now, I think, so that's partially why there's so many good deals over here right now. Because third parties are listing these laptops for really, really cheap. We're going to go over all of the best deals that I found on Walmart. Then we got the Dell.com Black Friday deals. Only one deal out of all of these I thought were pretty worth it would be the Alienware M17R7. We're going to go over that deal. I went over the Lenovo Legion store here, and surprisingly, it didn't seem like that good of a deal. Like, I think Lenovo has kind of gotten lazy on their deals, it feels like. And a lot of the best deals on the Lenovo laptops are actually elsewhere, like on Best Buy and Walmart. So probably don't want to go through the Lenovo store unless there's a very specific build that you want with very specific processors and you're willing to pay a little bit more for that specific build. Okay. And yeah, so that's it. That's it for now on the links. So let's go ahead and just get right into the actual deals if chat doesn't have any questions. Gremic asks, how long do you think those gaming laptops last because of those high temperatures? I think a lot of these gaming laptops will last easily 4 to 5 years, assuming that you take proper care of them and all of that. Like I did a gaming laptop test on an Aorus X5, running it at 99 degrees Celsius on the GPU. I don't know if you remember that, but it's like a meltdown test, and it was fine. Like, it's still okay. after like 6 months of running that. And then the GPU fan actually faulted, so the GPU fan had to be replaced. And at that point in time, I moved out of my house. I don't think it was quite 6 months. I think it was like 4 months, from like November to mid-March. And ended up selling the laptop to a buddy who is still using the laptop today. So he replaced the fan, and the laptop's still good. So I really don't think the temperatures are a problem, as big a problem as some people make them out to be, because laptops are designed to be ran at high temperatures. But I'm sure some still fail, right? And that's why getting an extended warranty, especially through a good resource like, I think Best Buy's extended warranties and Lenovo's extended warranties are both very good. So if you want to keep a laptop for a long time, and if anything can go wrong with it, of course it's possible things go wrong. Displays stop working, hinges stop working, motherboard, RAM, SSDs, hard drives, they all can go bad. You know, GPUs can go bad. So it's still possible for things to break down. That's why an extended warranty is something I do recommend for people that want to spring a little bit extra, just to make sure they have that extra security in case things do go wrong. Okay, so into the first deals. So I've generally organized these from cheapest on the left tabs to the most expensive laptops on the right. So we're going to go from cheapest to more expensive. Let's get into this. Okay, so Lenovo Legion 5 15.6 inch. We've got a Ryzen 5 5600H, RTX 3050 Ti, 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gig SSD. It's a Phantom Blue. It's $599. This is one of the two top deals that I put down for the under $600 category. It's going to be a great gaming laptop all in all. I think many people will be very happy with this. It's got the 3050 Ti will be able to play 1080p games really well, and that's what this has for a display. If you want to go a little bit cheaper, there is the Lenovo IdeaPad, which has almost the exact same specs, but it's $50 cheaper and has a smaller SSD. But they both have 120 Hertz 1080p displays. So that's pretty good in my opinion. For a budget gaming laptop, these are good prices, nice savings. I don't expect these deals to last too long because they're super good. Like if you're looking to get a budget gaming laptop, this thing will be able to play games really, really well right away. I don't know how good the screen qualities are on these two laptops. That's probably my biggest concern. And then also because it's the 3050 Ti, it's less future-proofed than some of them out there, right? So next up, we have a very portable, very awesome gaming laptop. The Zephyrus G14 feels very premium. And in my opinion, one of the nicest laptops for under $1,000 right now at $899. It's got an RTX 3060, an 8-core Ryzen 7 CPU, 16 gigs of RAM. It's going to be a fully featured machine for really, really cheap, in my opinion. This is the cheapest I've seen the G14 for, and they're trying to sell out, these units before the new RTX 4000 series comes out, and so they're really lowering the price on these guys, especially since there's a newer version of this machine that's been out. So I do recommend this. The main issue with this machine is the slower response rate, 144 Hertz, 1080p display, so it's not the very best display. The newer G14s have a little bit better display on them, but you're gonna have to pay extra money for those. So, but if you want something super portable, that's pretty affordable, this is a great one. Acer Predator Helios 300, Full HD 165 Hertz. It's a new i7, 12th gen, 16 gigs of DDR5, RTX 3060. So this has the latest technology, and it's a very reasonable price at $999. This is one of the top deals, I think, for under $1,000 as well. We got moving up a little bit in price. So this is going to be kind of like a little bit over $1,000 for the next few laptops. We have the Alienware X14R1, 14-inch, 144 Hertz Full HD gaming laptop. Very premium machine here, very portable, very ultra thin. I do really like this machine overall in terms of like aesthetics and design, maybe even a little better than the G14. But you're paying a premium price for it as well. So it's a trade-off, right? And overall, I think a lot of people will be very happy with this machine for the money for $12.99. Okay, next up we have the Legion 5, I believe. It's a 15.6 inch. It's a Ryzen 7 5800H with an RTX 3060, and it's going to be a fully featured gaming laptop with great overall performance for $1,079. So this is just a little bit more than $1,000, but it's a good deal still, and I do recommend it. I wouldn't say this is an amazing deal. I think an amazing deal on this spec would probably be like $950 or a little bit under $1,000, but this is still quite good. Legion 5i. So this is the new version of the Legion 5. We got a 12th gen Intel Core. I believe it's an i7, and I mean yeah, they have conflicting information here, but it's supposed to be a 14-core CPU, 16 gigs of DDR5, 1 terabyte SSD, which is larger than most of these other laptops, 165 hertz, 1080p display, RTX 3060, that's a high power limit. This thing's going to play games really, really well and it'd be a pretty premium overall experience. It's just going to be a little bit thicker than some of these other thinner laptops that we just were talking about. But very good bang for the buck here. Now, I also want to mention that the Legion 5i here, on all the BH photo links in the description down below, if for some reason it takes you to like the Black Friday deals page when you click on them, I guess it's something that's going on with the linking system. They're not linking directly, so once you click a BH photo link, you're also going to have to search Legion 5i to find this listing for some reason. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to mess the tracking up on the affiliates, whatever. I'm just listing everything I can, right? So here's an Asus TUF Gaming F15 gaming laptop. So $969. We've got the 11th gen i7 in this, 144 hertz 1080p display, RTX 3060, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. So this is going to be a pretty good overall deal. I wouldn't say it's an amazing deal simply because there are laptops that are very similar to this, but with updated technology, right? So this is like a medium deal if everything else sells out, but I just wanted to talk about it. I wouldn't highly recommend this one, but I think a lot of people will be tempted to buy this one, and I'm just kind of saying it's probably not worth it when there's all these other options out there. Going over to the chat real quick, let's go ahead and say hello to everyone. So 3060 is kind of not enough. Gremic, I would disagree with that actually. If you're just doing 1080p gaming, 3060 is enough to play the vast majority of 1080p games at high or ultra settings very smoothly. But, I mean, if you're someone who wants to play with absolutely maxed everything, especially in games like Cyberpunk 2077, then yeah, a 3070 is a noticeable bump up in performance, especially if you want like DLSS and RTX enabled and all the lighting, especially in the future games, say 2 years from now, those features may, cause a bit of a bottleneck. So Highland ERC says, thanks for coming back. Reviews were legit. No binned crap that OEMs send to YouTubers. YouTubers, for the most part, have become another elite class. Gotcha. Thanks, Highland, for the comment. I appreciate it. What's up, Sparrow? Welcome to the live stream. So I'm so glad that all of you guys are here, and I really appreciate all of you tuning in and checking out the live stream. Highland ERC with the $10. Thank you so much for the super chat. Welcome back. Have you reviewed the S17 SE 2022? I have not. I'm guessing that's the, let me put that in. Which brand is that? Is that the Asus? Yeah, Strix Scar. Yeah, the special edition. I have not. I believe that has a super powerful processor in it, which I'm pretty excited about. But if I was in the market to buy a laptop right now, that would be near the top of my list for sure. I think because I'm just all about CPU performance because I do a lot of video editing, so and gaming, which are often CPU bound. So I really appreciate what they did with that laptop. So okay, so we were on getting back to the laptop list. Here we are. We're on Asus ROG Strix G15 Advantage Edition. This is one of the top laptops for under $1,300, right around $1,250. For sure, it's a really incredible deal because you get a top-of-the-line processor. You get fully featured everything, so you have enough RAM. You don't have to upgrade the RAM later on. You get a QHD display. And you get an RX 6800M, which is a very powerful GPU. And this thing is marked down from, it says $14.99, but standard price for this laptop is actually $16.99, I believe. If you go to bestbuy.com right now, I believe it's listed at $16.99 for this same laptop. And that one, I think, actually has a full HD display. This one has a QHD display. So I'm really impressed with this laptop. I've had it in hand, and it worked great when I used it. There has been some mixed user responses to it, and I believe that's primarily driver related. Overall, I think a lot of people would really, really love this machine though, and I think it's a really great deal at this price point in particular. So, all right. Cool. All right, next one, Aorus 5 15.6-inch Full HD gaming laptop, Intel i7 12700H. So very powerful 14-core CPU, NVIDIA RTX 3070, which is a higher-end GPU, and this is like, I believe the older version of the Aorus 15. It's like the right in between before they did the full refresh, and so I think it was made at the beginning of this year, but before they did the new body. Anyway, I really like this Aorus 5 overall. I don't know for sure if it comes with a mux switch in this version, but the one I had a mux switch, but it was like some of the Aorus 5s had mux switches and some of them didn't. So, but whether or not this one comes with a mux switch, getting a 3070 with all these features at this price point is pretty awesome, I think. Let me see how much RAM this has. I want to make sure. Yeah, it has 16 gigs. Okay, so overall, I do think this is a really, really good deal around this price point. I wouldn't call it insanely amazing just because it has some. I don't. If it has a mux switch, I would call it amazing. If it doesn't, then I'm like a little bit in between. Like it's really good, but not like absolutely amazing because the esports performance, gaming performance won't be as good, but the general 3D performance in games like Red Dead Redemption and Cyberpunk 2077, it's going to be really, really good on this machine. So it just depends on what game you're going to play if it doesn't have a mux. But yeah, anyway. All right, so this one right here, I think, is an amazing deal. I have not had the Katana GF66 in hand. I've had the GF63 in hand, and the screen on the super cheap one that I had in hand was not very good, and it just feels a little bit like a more budgety laptop, you know. But the Katana, I believe, has a slightly better chassis, and this one in particular is an amazing deal because it comes with a RTX 3070 Ti. So you're getting the latest gen NVIDIA GPU for $1199. You're getting 144 hertz 1080p display. That's a downside. It's not QHD, but at least it's 144 hertz 1080p, and I hope the display quality is better on this one than the GF63. It probably is. I haven't done detailed research. Like I said, I haven't had it in hand, but I imagine it's probably a better one. But if you're gonna buy this one, you might want to double check the screen quality before you pull the trigger. Also, I'm not sure what the GPU power limit is on this Katana because a 3070 Ti will have a pretty wide range of performance depending on the power limit, and it might be fairly low power limit in this chassis, or it might be high. I'm not sure. It's not the same laptop as the GF63 though. It's a different build, different chassis. So just know that it's probably better than the GF63, and this deal could be absolutely phenomenal for $1199. I think this is the cheapest 3070 Ti out of all the deals that I've seen. So if you just want the latest tech and the most power for the money, this is probably pretty close to the top, if not the very top. Okay, checking in with chat again. The Asus, yeah, Highland ERC says it's got liquid metal on both CPU and GPU, and I have that laptop right now. Nice, man. That's so I think that Asus S17 is probably a really nice one, especially the special edition. Frankie P says, can the Legion 5 base model properly cool a 3070 Ti? I think it probably can. Lenovo has done a really good job cooling these machines. Of course, keep in mind, any laptop you get, you're going to want to make sure you clean those fans out probably once every 6 months at the minimum, ideally every 2 or 3 months. If you have dogs, you might want to do it a little more often, like 2 or 3 months. I've noticed a pretty big degradation in my cooling performance on my own. So I've got a Lenovo Legion 7i right here. I hope I don't unplug anything because I'm live streaming from this. The Legion 7i has certainly had reduced cooling performance over the year and a half I've had it. And I believe that's primarily because I haven't been cleaning the fans out as often as I should be. And also I think, liquid metal and in general, CPU pastes degrade over time. I mean, they don't perform as well as over time. I haven't done a detailed benchmarking test on the 7i. I should do that, and then I should also clean them and do it again and see what the difference is. That might be pretty interesting to see how big of a difference the cleaning actually can make with a realistic use case. But yeah, I think the Legion 5 could cool an RTX 3070 Ti just fine. I believe. Lenovo's done a pretty good job overall recently. David Akuchi says, can you please share your screen again? Oh, thank you for reminding me. I can't believe so I talked about, let me show you the links here. So this is the Aorus 5 that I was talking about. And let's see here. I think I talked about this. So here's the Asus Strix G15 Advantage Edition QHD Ryzen 9 5900HX, 16 gigs of RAM, RX 6800M. The Aorus 5 with the 3070 12700H for 1179, and then the MSI Katana GF66, 144 Hz display, but most importantly, it's got a 3070 Ti for 1199, and a 1 terabyte SSD, which is pretty nice for the money. So yeah, thanks for reminding me to share the screen. Okay. What about the Asus ZenBook 15 OLED? I haven't really looked at the ZenBook because it's not really a pure gaming machine. I can take a quick gander at it real quick, top 5 if you'd like. Let's go ahead and pop it in there and see. I mean, OLED displays are beautiful, and they're usually pretty fast response rates, right? So they're decent for gaming, but they're usually not a high refresh rate. So it won't be as smooth looking, but you'll probably still be able to aim fairly well in games. So we got a 3050 Ti, Ryzen 9 5900HX, OLED 400 nits. Yeah, that seems like a pretty nice laptop. If you really want an OLED display, you'll probably be able to game on that, and probably is a premium overall design, but it's not going to give you the same performance as a dedicated high TDP RTX, say 3060 or 3070. For the money, it's not going to be very good performance. But if you really want an OLED display, then it's probably a pretty good option. Okay. Live Dream Question asks, I was able to get a Legion 5 Pro Gen 7 2022 Ryzen 6800H RTX 3070 1 terabyte SSD 16 gigs DDR5 QHD display for about $1,400 directly from Lenovo. That's a pretty good deal. None of that, the deals that we have right now on Lenovo's website just aren't that good. Like, you got a little bit better deal than what's on their website. I think at a 3070 right now on their website, it's like $1,600 or $1,700. So that's like their doorbuster special, which to me is like, really? That's your doorbuster? Like, look at all these other BH Photo and Walmart listing Legion laptops for like $300 or $400 less than Legion's website. Maybe Lenovo's website could be worth it if you could find another coupon code that's better. Sometimes they do special coupon codes. I didn't find any that were particularly good. I didn't look too hard though. Sometimes they bounce around on forums or other coupon code websites. It just depends. All right, moving on to the Aero 16 i7-12700H GeForce RTX 3070 Ti, a 2 terabyte SSD. That is actually a huge bonus because those are like, you know, another $50, $100 more than a 1 terabyte SSD, and you don't have to replace it yourself. And we've got a 4K AMOLED OLED display. So the thing about this one is it has some pretty mixed reviews on the machine itself. I haven't done a deep dive on it myself, but it looks like the 16:10 aspect ratio 4K AMOLED display. The specs on this look absolutely amazing. Go into this one cautiously if you do decide to buy it, and be prepared to potentially return it if things don't work out, if there's quality control issues or if you just don't like it. But overall, seems pretty cool. I don't think the display is a high refresh rate display. So this is really more for someone that wants to do things like video editing and then game on the side. This is probably a pretty good option for that, especially with the high-powered 3070 Ti in this machine. All right, next up we have the Asus ROG. I believe this is the Strix G15. Yeah, it is. Now we have a QHD display on this. At least that's what it says there. Let's make sure it says that also down here. Yeah, it does. So it's a 165 hertz QHD display. We've got an RTX 3060, which can go up to 140 watts. That's pretty good. That's very good for a 3060. And overall, we got the Ryzen 7 6800H. So the latest, you know, Ryzen 6800H, that's great. RTX 3060. The main downside to this one is it doesn't have as powerful of graphics cards as some of these other laptops around this price point. You're getting 3070 and 3070 Ti's for cheaper than this one. But with this one, you get a sweet build quality and good RGB lights and a QHD display and a new Ryzen processor. So this one's still a pretty good deal. I'd give this deal like a 9 out of 10 or 8.5 out of 10, something like that. So if you want the ROG Strix series, this is a pretty great deal right here. So here's an interesting deal. I don't think it's amazing, but it's pretty sweet. Let's talk about it. So the Zephyrus G14, it's an QXGA 120 hertz, and I believe the response rate on this display is much, much better than the other Zephyrus models in the past. We got a Ryzen 9 6900HS and an RX 6800S GPU. So very nice silicon in this laptop, and it's a 2560 by 1600 resolution laptop, and it's very portable. We've got a webcam on this thing. Overall, if you're looking for something thin, light, and portable, this should be in one of your top 2 or 3. But we also have, I think, a couple other thin and lights. Like we have the, where is it? This one. So we have the X14. This one's actually $100 cheaper for a thin and light. And it's got NVIDIA hardware, which I generally like the drivers better on NVIDIA hardware. So overall, I think if it was my money, I'd probably buy this one instead. If I was on more of a budget, then I would go with this one, the cheaper version, the $899 version, if you want something really portable. But the thing is, a lot of these other laptops, like, they're still pretty portable at 5 pounds, and they pack a lot more performance. So if you want more performance, like me, I want more performance. You know, I use the Legion 7i, which is a 16-inch laptop, and it's got all the performance I need, and it's still under 6 pounds, and it's still less than an inch thick, and I can take it anywhere I want fairly easily. But if you're like, say, a college student, and you're going to be hauling this thing around in your back 8 hours a day in your backpack, that's when I think going something more portable really makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we are on this guy now. All right, Lenovo Legion 5i. So the Legion 5i is one of the really nice machines. The 7i is technically a little higher end, but this one's got the latest 12th gen CPU, 14 cores, 165 hertz, 1080p display. So it's a 16:9 aspect ratio display. DDR5 RAM, 1 terabyte SSD, and an RTX 3070 Ti. So we're getting really phenomenal performance out of this machine. We've got a mux switch, and it's gonna be just really cranking out those FPS in all the games really, really well. And this deal is better than any deal I found on Lenovo's website. So this is the BH Photo. So you have to use the BH Photo store link and then search for the Legion 5i if you want this deal, because the link directly to this one doesn't work for some reason. I don't know. Overall, this is definitely one of the top deals of the weekend, but I wouldn't say it's the #1 deal. I'm leaning towards this MSI Katana being the #1 deal, but it's for 150 more. I would probably buy the Legion 5i instead, because it's a lot more premium experience than this one, you know, and it's 150 more. But if you're on a tight budget, you're like, I can't go over $1,200. This is pretty good. This is really good for the money. And so is this one. And so is this one. This one, oh yeah, this one's really good. I like that this one has a QHD display. I really like having a QHD display myself. So that can be a big swing for me one way or the other, but if you're after the most performance, a 3070 Ti I think will give you, a little bit better performance than the 6800M, or at least a lot more consistent from game to game. And let me check with chat before we continue on. We've got about 5 more deals here. So, all right. Thank you, sir. Yes. Okay. Please look and tell me 3070 Ti on Katana. 3070 Ti on Katana is not 150 TGP. No, it's definitely not. I'm hoping it's at least 115 though. I'm curious what it is. Toby Hutchinson says, is a 3080 mobile still any good? Oh yeah, that's what I've got in my laptop right now, and I play so many different games on my laptop, and it just goes right through them like butter, you know. So, I mean, the 3080 is still an excellent GPU, and 3060 honestly is still an excellent GPU. So it's going to be a while before we're going to play games, and we're just not going to be able to play them at all. Like probably 5-10 years probably before the 3080 is like terrible, you know. Live Dream Question says, did you see any last gen Legion 5 Pro Ryzen 5800 on Walmart for $1,100 with a 3070? I wanted the newer model Legion 5 Pro, or I would have grabbed that one. Yeah, I did see that one, Live Dream Question. I think I pulled it up here, I thought. Right here, yeah, this one. So this one's a really good deal overall, but I would rather get a QHD display myself, and I feel like a really, really good deal on this would be like $1,000, not a $1,079. So especially the one that you can pay just a little bit more, and you're getting, I think there's a Legion 7i somewhere around here. Yeah, like this one has a 3070 for just a little bit more, and that to me would be worth it. 3070 Ti for, you know, $120 more, that would be worth it probably. And then, let me see, what other ones do we have? And then you had the Acer Predator Helios 300, and I would say this one's a better deal than that Lenovo Legion 5, because you get the latest gen Intel 12th gen full HD 165 Hz. You get a great display, and you get a high TDP 3060, and nice portability on this one overall. And I'd rather get this one than the Legion 5 from Walmart, just because this one has the latest gen stuff, and it's you know, even cheaper than the Legion 5. So that's just my take on it. And if you're going to be right around 1,000, this is probably my #1 pick, probably. If you check the video description, if you check the video description of this, you can see my top picks for each price range. And yeah. Okay. Very nice. Let's move on to the last set. So this is going to be the laptops that are going to be about $1,500 or more. And I thought this was a pretty interesting deal. We've got the MSI GE76. Now this machine in particular with an RTX 3060 was priced, I believe, around $2,200 when it first came out because it's a very premium machine with this RGB light bar, all metal chassis, and it's a really nice machine overall. I've had this in hand with an RTX 3080 in it, and I really liked it overall. So at $1,549, I thought this was a very reasonable deal. I wouldn't say it's an insane deal, but if you want more of a premium experience, that's a bit, you feel a little bit more luxurious using this, I think, than say like the MSI Katana. Right, this one's going to outperform that GE76 almost for sure, but this MSI GE76 is going to feel awesome in your hands, right? Then we also have the MSI GP66, but we get an RTX 3080 with this one. So this one, I believe this is the cheapest 3080 we've seen so far on the list. I think there's one other one. Yeah, that's a 3080, and this one is also a 3080. So I believe this is the cheapest RTX 3080 on the list, but there is the same version of this machine over on, I think, Newegg's site for $12.99, but I think it was out of stock. So I'm not sure if this is now the cheapest version of this machine available. We can check Newegg real quick just to make sure. But the GP66, let's see. So looks like this one's $13.49 for a 3070 version. That's still going to be pretty nice, but it looks like they've priced up the 3080 version again to be more expensive. Let me just try filtering to only 3080. So we can get down to the pricing. Yeah, so that one's no longer available, not a thing anymore. So if you want the cheapest 3080, I believe this is it right here, the GP66. I'm sure there may be other deals around the internet though. Okay, so OPJ asks, would you buy a laptop now or wait for an RTX 4000 series? I think, me personally, because I already have an RTX 3080, I'm gonna wait for an RTX 4000 series before I upgrade. I don't think going to the Ti series is worth the performance upgrade. It's too much hassle switching a laptop and you lose a lot of money when you switch it. That said, the 4000 series I think is going to be very power efficient and be a nice performance upgrade in the laptop chassis. We'll see. NVIDIA's done a pretty good job delivering laptop performance from a generation to generation gap. And if NVIDIA follows their last trends, like their historical trend of how they've been releasing, we can expect RTX 4000 series laptops to be announced at CES here in 2023, back in January. So probably in the first week of January, we'll have them announced most likely, and then the first few weeks of January, we'll start hearing about the specific models. Then you might be able to pre-order them around then, but then you won't probably get them in until February or March timeframe. Most likely, that's what I'm expecting to happen. Now, if that does happen, that means most likely they won't be available for general purchase unless you pre-order probably until March or April. So, and those laptops will not have deals on them because they'll be brand new. So you're going to pay a premium price for those RTX 4000 series GPUs. And so right now, if you were to buy the RTX 3000 series, you're probably going to get a better bang for the buck on some of these deals than you would if you were to wait for a 4000 series in terms of just money per FPS. But if you want the latest technology and you want to be the most future-proofed, that's when I would generally recommend potentially waiting for like March or April, or at least pre-ordering the 4000 series. But don't expect a good bang for the buck. So if you're at all on a budget, which right now I think a lot of people are on a budget, going for a 3000 series on a discount makes a ton of sense to me. All right. Royal says, I would buy now instead of waiting, to be honest. Yeah, if you want the best bang for the buck, I generally think buying around Black Friday, Cyber Weekend, Cyber Monday, Christmas deals provides a little better bang for the buck than waiting for the 4000 series. Okay. Melm says, there was also a Legion 7i 12800 HX 3070 Ti deal for $1,700 on the Lenovo website. Yes, I did see that one, and I thought it was okay, but don't we have... Isn't this... See, the thing is, you know, this one right here is a 3070 Ti for $1,349. That's why I'm like, this is $350 cheaper than the Lenovo version on their website. And there might be some minor differences between these models. I don't know if there's a QHD display on that one in Lenovo. That'd probably be the biggest difference. But this, in general, is going to be a much better bang for the buck than the Lenovo deal. So that's my take on that. And that's why I didn't really include the Lenovo deal for $1,700 for the 3070 Ti. Okay, so just checking chat again. They had the 3080 version for $1,400 on Walmart. Which one, Royal, was 3080? I know that there was a 3080 for around $1,300, $1,400 somewhere on the internet, at least for a short period of time. I didn't catch that deal. I didn't find it though, and I haven't been able to find a deal on a 3080 for a GP66, he says. Okay. Yeah, well, there was the GP66 for $12.99 on Newegg's website yesterday, I believe, for a little while. But that was a short-lived deal. It was not. It didn't last very long. ROG Strix Scar 17. Yeah, it's a great laptop. It is a good laptop. I like that laptop. How about the Gigabyte A5 X1? I'd have to see the specific specs, Ronin, to understand which one you're talking about. Kush says, yeah, and probably on eBay you can get a better deal from online, a certified reseller for Lenovo. Potentially, eBay might have some good deals. Maybe at the end of this, we'll go check out eBay and see what they have. That was one place that I did not check. Okay, so next up we have the ROG Zephyrus G15. It's a QHD display, Ryzen 9 5900HS, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, 5900HS. It's an RTX 3080 with 8 gigs of memory, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD, and very portable machine. It's $1,759. I would not call this an amazing deal. It's just an okay, good deal. I would say at $1,599, it'd be an amazing deal. So, but overall, this is still the best price I've seen on this whole spec package, I believe. So they may have been sold cheaper at certain points in time, but this is the cheapest I've seen it. And overall, I think this is an excellent bang for the buck. The 3080 in this, though, is a lower TDP. So don't expect as high a performance out of it compared to some of the other 3080s out there in bigger chassis. So, like, for example, the GP66 right here with the 3080 has a higher TDP limit, and it's going to outperform this Zephyrus. So keep that in mind. Plus, the GP66 has a MUX switch, and this one does not. So another downside. But overall, I still think this is a good bang for the buck, but not amazing. I wouldn't really highly recommend it. I just want to point it out in case someone's looking for this particular spec with a great screen, QHD 3080. So next up, we have the Asus Strix Scar 15. I have loved my Scar 15. I really enjoyed using it when I had it. And I had almost this exact model, but I had a QHD display. This one has a 1080p display instead. And it also, I believe, does not have the number pad on the touchpad. So those are two big things that are kind of a downside on this machine. But overall, I still think this is a nice machine. The price on it at $18.99, this really sucks it doesn't have a QHD display. If it had a QHD display, I'd be like, yeah, this is great. As it is right now, I'd say it's only a 7 out of 10 deal. It's not a high priority deal for sure. Legion 5 Pro 16-inch, i7-12700H, RTX 3070 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM. So we're getting the latest version of the Intel CPU, and then also the 3070 Ti, the latest version of that, in a 5 Pro chassis. So I do like the 5 Pro in general, and it's not quite the highest end version of the Lenovo Legion lineup, but it's still pretty good. And at $17.99, this is probably going to perform better than these last two laptops. So yeah, but it's not a great bang for the buck when you look at like the $1,500 price points. It's just like, to me, like this one is like, it's okay. It's okay. Again, probably only 6.5, 7 out of 10 deal. Not highly recommended, really, in general, I don't think. Nothing really that special about it. Okay. This one's an interesting deal for sure. The Alienware M15R7. Now, the interesting thing about this one is that it's got a QHD 240 hertz, 2 ms response rate, advanced Optimus, which I hope works. I haven't tested it. It's a little bit finicky with the Alienware Advanced Optimus from my experience in the past Alienwares. But if the Advanced Optimus works properly, then it's like a Mux switch built in. Advanced Optimus is kind of a crapshoot. Has been in every machine I've tested it with, including the Legion 7i, which supposedly has it, but doesn't really. It's really weird. I don't know. Definitely need to work on the drivers and consistency of the switching between the different GPUs and CPUs and all that. So let me get back to that one, but I got a super chat for £5. I have an Omen RTX 3070, i7-10750H, 16 gigs of RAM. I'm having huge FPS drops unless I undervolt the CPU to get stable FPS. Can you explain to me what's wrong? So, hey Wajima, I'm guessing that you're getting CPU throttled, is my guess. And so CPU throttling can either be from the power limit being hit and then the CPU clock rate drops, or it's being thermally throttled because the temperature is too high. And if it's being thermally throttled, there are some things you can do with that. So you can, for example, put a laptop cooler underneath the laptop, put more air into the laptop that way. You can also dust out your vents using some dust off, or you can vacuum the edges of the vents. At the very least, you should do that regularly, especially if you have dogs. So those are probably the two biggest reasons why you're getting those FPS drops. But if you're undervolting the 10750H, then and you're getting better stable FPS, then that probably means that you're probably getting your stutters from your CPU being hit with some kind of throttling. And the best way to tell if you're getting throttled like that is to use an application like MSI Afterburner and use an overlay during the gameplay. So whenever it throttles, you can see, oh, the clock rate of the CPU dropped, or you can see the temperature of it at the same time. So you can be like, oh, it hit 99 degrees, and then the CPU clock dropped, and then I got a stutter. So you can identify, yeah, it's thermal throttling or whatever the cause is of the gameplay issue. You can also do a repaste like Highland ERC says. That's a little bit more advanced, but it is certainly possible to do that, and you can have pretty significant drops in temperatures if you repaste the CPU. So that's another option, but it takes a little bit more effort to get that to happen. You can sometimes get computer technicians to help you out with your repaste job. And I think a reasonable price for someone to help you, it only takes about a half hour. Someone who knows what they're doing, it only takes about a half hour or less. If they don't know what they're doing and it might be like an hour, right? If you don't know what you're doing, it might be an hour, hour and a half. And you might damage something if you don't know what you're doing, but it's unlikely if you're really careful. So most people will be able to handle that on their own. Okay. All right. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into this Alienware M15R7. This thing is really, really interesting. It's $18.99, so it's more expensive than a lot of these machines out here. But the big thing is the special thing is the QHD 240 hertz. So if you're an esports gamer and you want a QHD display, this is the highest quality we've seen of a display on any of these laptops so far. And it's got an RTX 3080 at the same time, and it's in a fairly portable package, right? So this is a nice machine overall. It's not going to have the highest TDP out there. I'm trying to find the weight. They're not stating the weight anywhere. See if we can find how much it weighs. It should be, yeah, so it's 5.3 pounds. It's up to 5.9. I wonder why it'd be 5.9. But under 6 pounds. It's fairly thin. And it's got the latest gen Ryzen 9 6900HX. So really great performance on this one overall. And should be a high-end esports gaming laptop if Alienware executed it all correctly. And I think this is a pretty good deal. I'd give this one, for someone who wants a specialized QHD 240 hertz display at a reasonable price, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10 in terms of deal. Oh, you also get 32 gigs of RAM. So if you need a high amount of RAM, you get 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, which is another big bonus for a machine at this price point, because usually you don't get 32 gigs of RAM on these kind of like mid-range pricings. Usually for 32 gigs of RAM and for this nice of a display and a higher end CPU, yeah, this thing normally is priced at $26.50, which seems about right for what you're getting in this machine in terms of just the raw normal retail price. So overall, I think this is a pretty good deal. It's a really good deal. Last up, we have the Razer Blade 14 RTX 3070 Ti, 16 gigs of RAM, and $19.99. So Ryzen 9 6900HX. And this one is going to be just very, very portable. And the Razer Blade 14 has done really well in reviews. It puts up good benchmarking numbers, and it really delivers overall. So it's a QHD 165 hertz display. So the display is not quite as nice as the Alienware display, but I really like the Razer build quality. In general, it feels ultra premium, ultra expensive. Like you just feel special every time you lift it and open it up and everything. I really enjoyed owning a Razer whenever I did. The one thing I absolutely hate about Razer is the keyboard arrow keys. I do not like these keyboard arrow keys. They drive me crazy because I use arrow keys pretty often when I'm typing, and you have to like make your fingers scrunched real weird to use these. But other than that, I've really enjoyed using the Razer. Plus, you don't have a number pad. But this thing is so stylish, and it's a unibody metal aluminum chassis. And usually Razers also have mediocre ports, and this one does not have amazing ports, but it's all right. But the TDP on this Razer is a bit better than their historical TDPs have been, especially for its size. And overall, I think this is a good deal at $19.99 if you're looking for something super premium and you're willing to spend a little bit more money. This one was sold out yesterday, but it came back in stock, which is nice. So I do think this one will probably sell out again at some point. I don't know. So let's see here. What was that? Okay, that was this tab. All right, so checking the chat. What gaming laptop has the highest FPS with high quality? Gremic asks, any cooler that you would recommend? I would say just go to Amazon, type in laptop cooler, look for something with authentic, good reviews. That's what I would do. Another thing that you can do if you don't want a laptop cooler and you move your laptop around a lot, you can install these laptop feet. These things pop out and elevate your laptop by default. See that? So that way it rises up off the desk and gives your fans quite a bit more air clearance to pull in new air. So I would recommend that is a good solution if you're constantly moving around and you can't take a laptop cooler with you. All right. I believe that's all of the deals for today. Let's just go over the very best deals that I think you should be looking at. If you're at an ultra low budget, I would get the Legion 5 for under $600. That's my number one pick there. If you're on a budget and you want something really portable, go for the Zephyrus G14 at $899. If you want something portable and you're willing to spend a lot more money, then get the Alienware X14. Or if you want more performance, probably go with the Razer right here. This one's going to be the best overall ultra performance, ultra portable gaming laptop out of the list. Now, if you want the most performance for the dollar, for GPU raw performance, you're probably looking at this MSI Katana, probably at $1199 for an RTX 3070, at least in terms of the raw silicon for the money. I don't know about the wattage of this one, but it's not a very premium experience for sure. That's the main downside. The next best one probably is this one, the Legion 5i with a 3070 Ti. It's going to be able to run that 3070 Ti at a high TDP with a mux switch, 1349. I mean, this thing's a really nice one. It just doesn't have a QHD display. If you want a laptop that has a QHD display and is a reasonable price, that's when I would go with the Asus Strix G15 Advantage. This thing, QHD display, nice processor, nice GPU at $1249. This thing's really, really tough to beat as an overall package. Yeah, best all-around deal, probably this guy. Probably. Maybe. But in the end, I personally probably wouldn't get this one just because it's a Radeon RX 6800M. Yeah, I would probably QHD display. It all depends on if you're okay with the rate. I mean, you can always try it and return it if it doesn't work for you. I'm not sure what Walmart's return policy is on here, though. It's not as good as Best Buy. Best Buy is great because the return policy is amazing. Yeah, for $1,000, this is the best mid-range budget, I believe, gaming laptop. No QHD display, but I think this is right in the sweet spot with the latest Gen Tech. Nice everything. I really like this one. This deal overall, I think a lot of people will love this laptop tremendously. So this one may be the very best bang for the buck in terms of most happiness, meeting happy people, but also there's so many good deals. Oh yeah, this one probably wins Black Friday in general, I think, though. Legion 5i right here, 3070 Ti. Yeah, I think this one's gonna win Black Friday deals. I don't know. It's so hard to pick with the final best deal for Black Friday. Maybe the GP66 Leopard that was $12.99 on Newegg. That was probably the very best deal. But that's gone. So that doesn't exist anymore. The next best deal, yeah. The next best deal is probably this one or the Legion 5i. Yeah, those are probably the two best deals. And if you're looking for a little bit lower price, then the Acer Predator Helios is the next best deal, I think. But links in the description with each price point to consider, and you can kind of pick and choose what your price point is and take a look at those. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll check chat one more time for questions. and then we'll probably call it there for the live stream. I hope this was super helpful to everyone out there, and thanks so much to Highland ERC and Hiwajima Shizu for the super chats. You guys are awesome, and thank you for supporting me as a creator. Yep, so be looking for more live streams and reviews coming soon, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Peace.